There we go. All right, we are live, guys.
Good deal. Good afternoon, Tracy.
Today, I'm sorry.
Say good afternoon to
Good
you.
afternoon. You guys know this space. This is a very familiar face, and a lot of you know what we're going to be talking about. You are very excited about making sure that you have a clear plan and getting tips on solidifying your plan. One thing that I've realized is when you have a clear plan, you don't need as much motivation. You don't always have to be filling in and have to be super excited. And once that excitement dies down of planning and prepping and things like that, you still have your plan and you can follow those steps whether you're excited about it or not, or no matter what's going on. So we're going to dive deep into that. As you guys are joining, please say hello. Tell me where you're from so we can see if you're from Facebook or if you're from YouTube. We're going to be sharing this on both pages as well. We'll also go in and make sure that you are tagged Coach Austin. How are you doing today?
I am great. Can't complain. Loving the day. A lot of preparation into what we're going to talk about today. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm excited.
Sounds
I'm
good
excited.
here. Well, we will just give a couple of minutes. Like I said, as you guys are coming on here, just feel free to let us know where you're watching from. Tell us a little bit about your nonprofit and or business. And then also putting some of the questions in here that you guys have asked us. We'll go back to that feed and answer some of those questions as well. But if you want to pop them into here, that's fine as well. And let me just go over to this section. All right, guys. And I'm just double checking. I don't see us here, so I'm going to give a shout out to make sure we're good to go. Guys, we just want to make sure. Okay, yep. I see you, Camila. You're here. Thank you so much for saying that, because I'm like, I can't tell if we're live. Some of my team is gone today, guys. And so this tells me the importance of them. But here we go. I see someone from Facebook here. She said, I'm here. I'm on my way home. I have to pull up my business plan I've started. Oh, okay, awesome. She's going to pull it up and everything. If you're joining from YouTube, feel free to go ahead and message and let us know where you're joining from as well. All right, we're good. You guys can see us. So that's the most important thing. All right. Well, you said you were doing pretty well, getting prepped for this subject. How long have you been talking about business plans, and how long has this been a pivotal part of your particular business?
When the Lehman Brothers crisis happened, you can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Good. Got the new headset going. Right when 07, 08 happened, and the Lehman Brothers crisis, the real estate market crisis happened, we had to thank God we had a business plan. We sat down for a week and went over that business plan, tore it to shreds, rebuilt it, and turned it into two different companies. So from that point on, I really understood, wow, this business plan thing helped. Prior to that, in 2005, 2006, when I first started my company, I sat down with the banker and said, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. Right? He said, where's your business plan? Before he let me get a word in edgewise, and I've never really told a story like this before. Before I got a word in edgewise, he said, where's your business plan? I said, I really don't have one. He said, go on eBay. At the time, eBay was hot, and find me a business plan template software. The old disk we used to put in the computer. Everything's streaming now. But it was a $10 eBay business plan software that I was able to use, and it gave me a template. I wrote everything out. The same thing I'm telling you guys to do 15 years later, 10 years later. That showed me the importance of how pivotal and how monumental having that plan in front of me is. Probably, I think a month later, I went back to him. I said, here's my little flash drive that I downloaded it to. Here's the printed copy that I went to UPS, the UPS store, nicely binded and all that kind of thing. And he looked it over and he said, wow, he didn't really go through it all. He said, how much do you need? I told him, and I gave him the spiel. Here, funded me that day. My first little bank loan off of that business plan.
Mm-hmm. So that you knew, the importance was that you knew and had that what the business plan represents is that you've done your research. You've done your due diligence. Like you said, he didn't really go through it all, but he sees, okay, or you've even given it that much time. You're serious about your business enough to go through and create a business plan. And you don't have to recreate the wheel. like you said, you got a template then. There's templates now that have been updated and refreshed and things like that. We were able to give out some in the last live that we did. So it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel. You can just follow what is the next step.
Often trying to reinvent the wheel hurts you
Mm-hmm.
because businesses won't change their holistic approach, the foundation of what creates a business, what makes a business work. Yes, we're in a digital age. Yes, things are online. We're not unaccustomed to taking that on. We may be unaccustomed to going from brick and mortar to having a web front. Okay, I get that. But at the end of the day, forecasting numbers, feasibility studies, the business plan itself, knowing how much I need to sell to pay the bills and how much I need to sell to make a profit, revenue
Mm-hmm.
streams, profit and loss, balance sheets, all that's never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
Absolutely.
get away from it. You can hire the best business marketing, branding person you want. Your product can look great, but if you don't know who to sell to or why to sell to them, or the essential business questions have to be answered, have to
Mm-hmm.
be answered. And I have a few clients right now who have done phenomenally well their first couple of years into business. Now they're looking at pivoting. This word is a lot
Yeah.
is a common phrase now, and looking to scale, which is grow, and it is scaring the yank out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why are you so afraid? Well, I'm done so well, but I don't know what that looks like. Well, that look is what your business plan will give you. That
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5, 7 year perspectives, the research that you do, the primary and secondary research that you have to do to formulate your plan will at least give you a comfort of knowing, okay, well, that's what it's about to look like. This is what my next step should be. That next step scares a lot of people.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of people run away. And I hate to say it really causes most, if not all, businesses to fail because of a lack of just that planning. Then you go into the answer of, well, if I didn't have enough funding, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. If you had a plan to show you what you need, then I can say, okay, I don't have enough funding. I won't be able to make it. Got to have the plan.
You gotta have the plan, and that's actually like kind of one of my life mottos. My life mottos outside of business, just in personal and in everything, is okay. Well, what's the plan? Like what I mean by that is, no matter what hits or what happens, okay, we have this information now. Now, what's the plan? And a plan always comes up. It always, it's always okay. So now we have to do this. Now we have to adjust that. But you have to take that beat and plan. And what I find sometimes is when we don't take that beat, sometimes we can be running in the wrong direction. So you didn't take a moment to pause and to really assess and to really see what's going on. And now a lot of us are just moving and taking action steps a little bit too fast. And
Mhm.
it's really easy when you don't have a foundation of a plan to get kind of pulled into someone else's plan or into someone else's, because you never did really come with that foundation and with that structure to begin with. What are some of the biggest challenges you see with your clients, particularly when it comes to digesting and processing and developing their business plan?
Sometimes, quite often, them even thinking they need one.
Wow.
That's the biggest hurdle
Wow.
I've gotten so far. And it's not really ego, and I don't want to talk down on it, but sometimes they'll be like, I don't really need it. I don't see the need. And then once I start asking them certain questions, right, they get to a point to where, oh my gosh, okay, how do I answer this? How do I answer that? I said, where's your business plan? Do you have one? Well, kind of, sort of, not really. And then that hurdle is overcome. Then we get into the hurdle of, and this is where I think a lot of people get it. Am I going fast enough? Am I missing out? If
Mm-hmm.
I take this time and take my time and do the research, I'm not making any sales. I'm not this, I'm not that. But who gave you that preconceived notion that you need to be where you think you need to be?
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
whole abyss. And now they're in this funk of, I don't know, coach, I don't know. I'm like, just relax. Then the life coach thing kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
So those two pieces are really the most difficult to get them from side hustle, what the world is calling entrepreneur, to a business mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest. Man, get over here. Let me fix you a little bit. And then once they get there and they start seeing it, and I try to teach them, this is what business really looks like. Oh, and then some of the scariest parts for them is, can I really do it? Because I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen it like this before. It's like you peel the wool over their eyes. Like, okay, now let's go.
Yeah.
So those are the top three, if you will, that I've seen the most difficult to really get into people, because you can't force it. I can't hit them over the head. I can't get superly passionate, and you got to watch it.
And a lot of times, like you said, from that solopreneur, entrepreneur to that business, sometimes it's about scaling and adding more people onto your team and getting your hands kind of out of everything. And all of those things can be a little scary. Camilla said, I'm sorry, I said your name wrong. Camilla said, it scares me a bit. Hold on a sec. There we go. It scares me, but I laugh in the face of fear. Ha ha ha. Yeah. And the business plan just scares her. And she talked a little bit about her mission here, which is about supporting victims of domestic violence and at-risk youth as well. So she's working on her business plan. I think she's at the beginning stages. I think you guys talked a little bit in the comments, and I'm actually going to go ahead and go over here and pull the comments up so we can answer some of those questions directly there.
And I don't even look at what exactly does scare. Like, it scares me. What is the it? Right? We've got to start to really not glance over some of the minutia that may scare us or throw us off. But what is it that scares you? And when I say it scares me, what is it? And then if you say, what is it?
I think my biggest struggle is the numbers and allocating the exact need expenses with no experience or knowledge. I just know what I want to do. Now, this is a huge thing that comes up quite often when it comes to nonprofits, because a lot of times they get into the nonprofit arena, and one of their heaviest things that they know they're going to be doing is fundraising. They may not have a whole lot of funds when they start off. So to look at these big numbers of how much maybe building a shelter or maybe, doing some big things in the community costs can almost be something like you're kind of running away from, because it's like, where's this money going to come from? But if you don't, I know one thing you always talk about is it's just numbers. So first start with just figuring out what those numbers are. And what I always like to do is when you can start from that big vision of whatever those numbers are, you can then start to look at little projects. And that's another thing you're going to be talking a little bit about today, while I pull up the rest of the questions here, is mini plans. But did you want to respond to that? The biggest struggle of the numbers, do you find that as well a common?
Yeah, it is common. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, this is how I would attack it. This is how I've attacked it. I'll give a scenario on how we went from, say, flipping houses, right? We had 12 houses under management, and say, for example, they were about average $250,000 to $300,000 a house. A nail is a nail, plywood is plywood, sheetrock is sheetrock. Whatever it's going to cost me when I walk through a house, for example, with a contractor, I'm looking at how much is this rehab going to cost me. I can't think is a lot, because if I've got the credit and the things you have to do to get the money, I've done the backing work. So now it's just the numbers. So when I talk to the banker or the investor or whomever is going to be putting money into my business, what number fits? Is this project too big? Well, hold on. I got to figure out what the number is anyway, because you never know what fits.
Right.
You never know. So we get oftentimes too afraid of just the unknown. So my advice to everyone would be, get the business plan template. It's going to sound redundant, but once you start hearing enough and then you hear the why behind what you do, get the business plan template, get the pro forma, the perspectives, and start at whatever you're afraid of when it comes to the numbers and that expense report. Just fill it out. Don't worry about what the number is. Just fill it out. Okay. At the same time you're filling this out, whatever industry you're in, and this is what is a missing piece to a lot of this, get you a coach or get you a mentor who is doing and has been where you're about to go, because you can't answer these questions on your own. It's impossible. And I don't know anybody, I don't care how smart you are, how much you YouTube or Google. Yes, that is something you need to do. So Google, YouTube as much as you can. Videos about this. Okay, I want to do the domestic violence shelter. I want to do a transitional living home. Things of that nature. Google it. Look into these things. The more you dig, that rabbit hole will take you down. You can probably spend a good 30 days of just primary research. If you have not done that, do that. Exhaust it as much as possible. Call some of these places who have what you're looking to build. Talk to the manager, talk to the secretary.
Volunteer. You can volunteer in some type of way, so you can kind of get in those inner workings and see what goes on, and what's really even needed in the community right now, because you do want to make sure that whatever you're bringing is something that is solving a heavy problem, and then also something that you have you're passionate about, and your why is important. She said here, scared because she doesn't know what she's doing. So that's where that research comes into play. Exactly what you said. Looking
Mhm.
at, okay, so I don't know, I don't have a lot of information on this. Let me continue. And on your downtime, I do this quite often on my downtime, even if I'm watching something entertaining, for an example, it may be something totally off subject about, I don't know, self-sufficiency or farming, anything like that. But if it's in
Mhm.
the way where someone talking to the camera like this, I
Mhm.
consider that looking at and studying what I do, because it's somebody else who's sitting there doing some of the things that I'm doing. So on your downtime, see if you can find some other people in your area, some pages, some YouTube pages, something like that, that have some of the things you already have. And once you start to get that information, you feel more confident in knowing what you're doing. And like you said, if you can do it, if you can align with a coach, that's even better, because they're able to guide you and kind of see what's going on and things like that. She said,
Mhm.
I definitely need a mentor. So that's good. That's definitely a good spot to be in, to know that that's something that's needed.
Yeah, if you can't afford one right off the bat, of course, Tracy and I are here for you to at least give you guidance on what kind of mentor you need within what industry. I often talk about SCORE, Society for Retired Executives, SCORE. SCORE is a free resource. These are retired executives in multiple fields. Oftentimes, again, that feet on the ground, going to another shelter, going to another facility, and talking to the lady at the front desk, because the market's big enough, and they're not necessarily worried about you taking their clients, especially in these areas where there's so many people that need your services, especially the homeless, domestic violence, abuse.
Mhm,
So many out there. So the lady at the front desk, 9 out of 10 won't really shy you away if you're coming
mhm,
in there to do some primary research. You could even disguise it as, and this is something else that I've done, disguise it as you're doing a documentary or you're doing research for a PhD paper.
mhm,
No one's going to say, oh, no, we can't talk to you. There's HIPAA requirements, yes, and they can't give
mhm,
away information. Right. But if you're doing a research paper, which you kind of are, and you're looking for as much data as possible to find out how do these things really work and who does this and who does that and how does this benefit the end
mhm,
user, take all the notes you can and put that into your business plan, into your bio. And then you have to see yourself as, how would I run this? Because my question to people often is, why are you doing this in the first place?
yeah,
What is your motivating factor to, why is it that you, Miss Williams, want to do this particular facility? Write it down. Right. And once you write it down and you look at it like, okay. And if it compels you, if it motivates you, okay, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Before I got my first $15 million project accepted, I went through the city and talked to each developer that was there. Went
mm,
into every board meeting I could, every city meeting, city planners, talked to the mayor, talked to so and so, and found out what role each person played. And you would be surprised how open they are to just say, yeah, this is what we need.
yeah,
This is what we need.
absolutely.
Who are
People will
you?
talk to
What do
you.
you do? Mhm.
It's more of a, I remember that I read a book, I don't remember which one it was, but it was something with abundance or something of that nature.
Mhm.
And one of the this was a professor, and
Mhm.
that's who wrote the book. And he was saying one of the tasks that he always had his students do, something with business and things like that, is he always have them reach out to at least 5 people that they would think would never return their message or return their call. Because what he would show at that time is, typically it's more so your fears of reaching out, of why, oh, I've even seen on some Shark Tanks where they'll say, well, have you called up this person or that person? They're like, no, I didn't call them up. Well, I didn't think that they would. Yeah, you could just call them up. You can email. That's the great
Right.
thing about the day and age we are in now, is that you can research and find out and get someone's information, their social media information and things like that, to be able to connect and create win-wins a lot easier than in the past. So utilize all those tools.
Got to, got
Absolutely.
to. Another understood, and I think even misused tool, underused tool. If you are Latina, if you are African American, Aboriginal, the Chamber of Commerce
Mhm.
is an underutilized tool. My gosh, the Latino Chamber of Commerce, Black Chamber of Commerce, this chamber is always a chamber for something. Find that Chamber of Commerce in your area and just give them a holler. Just give them a
Mhm.
call. They want membership dues and fees and this and that. They're there to help do this for the community. It's all kind of political. Let's just be real. but at the end of the day, it's a resource
You're
that
creating
you can
win-win.
tap into. Oh gosh, yeah,
Absolutely. You're creating
yeah,
win-wins. You're connecting with
yeah.
other businesses. Don't be
Mhm.
scared to connect with other nonprofits, other businesses, other allies, other people in your area. Sometimes people identify everyone as some type of competition, but that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times connecting, you guys can find projects that you may be able to do together or create some win-wins for each other. And sometimes when you're joint together and when you have joint processes, when it comes to the nonprofit world, funding is a lot easier when you have a
True.
partnership. It's like,
Very
oh,
true.
okay, wow. First of all, they can maintain some partnerships. Well, that's a thumbs up in personal or in nonprofit this day and age, you know. So, all right,
Exactly.
have some partnerships. That's great. So that means they have more of a team and we feel more confident in utilizing their services. So building those partnerships is really important as well. And sometimes just that mentorship partnership of, you know what, this is what I want to do someday. You might even find when you start working with another organization, and guys, I think sometimes it's just fear of what you'll find, because you might even find that, you know what, I would rather partner with them, or they're doing this program a lot better than mine, or okay, I see this hole now I want to adjust my plan a little bit because I see what they're doing and what's not working, and let me see how I can adjust it. So there's a lot of things you may find from that, but it's just one of those steps that you just really have to take, that research step, you
And you
know.
never know who's watching, who's listening.
Mm-hmm.
What catapulted us from rehab flips when the market fell to becoming a major player in the green commercial space was one guy listening to us. He and I are from the same hometown. I was in, meetings, suit and towel, that kind of thing, and just talking about what we did and how we did it. His uncle was a major developer in the city who needed a minority builder to come in. He calls me one Friday afternoon and just says, "Hey, we need a minority builder. Can you come down here? It's Friday. I'm in Houston. They're in Dallas." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming." "Why'd you call me?" "Well, overheard you saying this is what you did. We're from the same hometown, so hey, I might as well call you than call somebody else."
There you
Stayed up
go.
there the whole weekend, came back Monday with the contract. It's just how
There
these
you
things
go.
work. And if I would
Solve
have
the
opened my mouth
problem.
and
You're
started
solving the
networking,
problem. There
yeah,
you go.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. That's it. When you're solving a problem, guys, and when that's the basis of your nonprofit or the basis of your business is a solution to a problem, you don't, sometimes people think selling is a little bit more complex than it is. I've always been pinned a great salesperson, but I've never considered myself selling to anybody. I always consider myself giving people information that they can use and that can benefit them, you know. And so a lot of times we get a little bit nervous about asking for funding or about selling our products or talking about our services and products as a nonprofit. But if you're creating a some type of solution to a problem, then a lot of times what you'll find is people will come after you, like you just talked about.
oh gosh, yeah, yeah. And just because you're a nonprofit, don't get this misunderstood. And you've mentioned this before. Nonprofit and for profit is just the way the business has to function on a tax election side, and somewhat of, as far as on the corporate sustainability side, corporate function. But you're still, at the end of the day, problem solution. There's
Mm-hmm.
people right here who need what I have. Here's what I do. And that's why I asked the question earlier, why are you doing this? If your why will come out in how you sell or how you project the solution to the problem. So oftentimes your only issue is understanding the psychology of who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Are you talking to this high-end person? Are you talking to someone that's more corporate? Are you talking to someone that's some more that really loves to do research and loves studies? Are you talking to more of a nurturer? Who are you talking to?
Mm-hmm.
And when you understand the psychology of the people you need to talk to, you just become a chameleon to what they need to hear and how it needs to be delivered. And you're good because they need what you have. They
Mm-hmm.
want to give you whatever access. And no one's really, I won't say no one, some people do. And don't take a no for, just take a no for, okay, I appreciate you, giving me the opportunity to speak with you. Is there any takeaways you would give me? As far
Mm-hmm.
as you said, no, okay, I got it. I don't fit what you need. Just kind of give me an idea because I want to make sure that I'm working towards what work. Everyone's not your target market.
Yeah.
Every area of town isn't your target market, right? So just get down to the minutia of what works for you, what works
That's
for
it.
you, and
That's
just go
it.
for it. This world's too big, y'all. Trust me.
It really is, and that why is so important. You know, no matter what you're going to be putting work in, but when it's a labor of love, like Like what I do, I feel like it's a labor of love. My goal is impacting entrepreneurs. Every time I see someone get a grant or start a program in the community, I feel like we are a part of all of those different programs, all of the youth programs, all of the domestic violence programs, and all of those different things. So right now, especially during COVID-19 and all of this going on, I feel like we really need that in the community. We need more people to take their dreams and really put them out here, start those action plans, and really start serving in the areas that they've been called to serve. I feel like I'm called to this area. So my why is extremely strong, and that carries me when the work gets a little bit, harder. Or you have to deal with certain types. Because if you're dealing with clients, if you're dealing with board members, if you're dealing with volunteers, if you're dealing with your family, you're going to be dealing with people. And there are all different types of people out here. And so, it can be hard sometimes. But when your why is strong, that drives you.
Exactly. I agree. If your why is driving you, and you do such a great job with your why, with what you do. And it's funny, you brought up the word collaborative or competitive. We're two coaches, right? We're getting more work done together than if we tried to say, and I can look at you in a certain vein as what Tracy's been doing this for a minute. She's this, she's that. I'm intimidated. I can't do it with Tracy, but I mean, why not? And so we could be, but we're not. And look how many people we're helping now together. Mm-hmm. It hasn't stifled any one of our businesses. If anything, it's grown and given us another avenue. And now we're doing this.
And now you can combine talents. You can combine gifts and offer even more. Guys, if you are wanting that accountability, at the end of this, we're going to talk a little bit about what me and Coach Austin are doing together, even more in partnership, where you can get both of us as somewhat of a coach. We're going to be doing kind of a group coaching program where we're going to be walking you through this business plan portion. So if you have to go anytime early, make sure that you comment under here, send me the info, and we'll make sure that we direct message you that info. Is going to be all coming out next week. So you just got the sneak peek to that. But that was a prime example right there, that we're working together. And when you're working with two individuals, I can take the things that you're really great at, like the details and the business plan and all of those types of things. I love planning, but I'm more of a messy planner. So now we can see how, take the positives of my thing is that inspired action and making sure that you're, taking those action steps and, but you also have to be organized. And so it basically balances each other out, and you guys are able to use that information to kind of not make some of the mistakes that I necessarily made with my messy. And same thing for Coach Austin here, not, because we learned from all of the mistakes that we've made. And to be able to combine that and give it to you all is exactly the type of coaching that we're talking about and the type of partnership that we're talking about. But if it's not us, just anyone, being able to link to someone who's in your field, who's tied to what you're doing, who can take you to the next level, because sometimes people will link with coaches and they'll just take them to one level, and then they have to unlink, and then they link with some other coaches and things like that. And that's okay as well. What you just want to make sure is that you have someone or something, YouTube video, business plan template, or someone who can walk you through that process. So you're not doing it alone, because it can be really tough to do it alone.
Exactly. I mean, I've turned people on to other coaches. Sometimes even the personalities don't mesh.
Yeah.
When you're talking about your business, that's a lot to be involved with. I mean, it's involving your personal life. There's some distractions. There's this, there's that. So if I feel that I can't help you for whatever reason, and oftentimes I may say, hey, go talk to so-and-so. Let them know I sent you or whatever. Or I'll even call the person ahead of time. It can just be a personality thing. It could be I may only do, and we can't as coaches do everything. We may want to or try to. But I think we've gotten to a point in our career so we know what we're super good at. I don't do nonprofits. I could, but I'm never going to be you. So why even try it? And so if we can, again, muse services and know what we do well, come to us and say, who would you pick for me? What would be the ideal coach? There's other coaches out there. Go. I mean, I'd rather you deal with someone that makes you successful. We can't take everybody on.
Absolutely. And it has to be a match on both ends. That creating win-win, guys, is so important in every area, with your families, with the partnerships and things like that. It may be even a case where they're not a match on their end or not a match on your end. So it may be like, okay, they really want you as a coach, but that you're not going to be able to really work with them as much. For an example, I've gotten a little bit more uh I've gotten a little bit more clear and open and frank with my coaching, but I'm not
Mm.
one of those like hardcore coaches that's gonna make you like, if you don't want to do it, if this your dream and if you're not excited about your dream, then we might need to reassess that why. You know what I mean? I'm not
True.
that person that's going to ever like force, but some people may need that. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of people get a lot of stuff done with that, football style coaching used to be so hard. My oldest, who actually just moved out. Yes. My oldest so quiet.
Oh, wonderful.
But my oldest used to play football, and I just used to be on the sidelines, like just cringing, like, oh no, I just wanted to give everybody a hug. Like, no, but I'm like, and then I even had an idea. I was like,
Yeah.
I want to make my own football team. And
Mm.
it's going to be all coaching in a loving way, and we just that was for about 5 minutes, and then I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if that's
We'll
gonna work.
talk after that.
I'm like, do we have to coach like this? But different
You
things
do.
for different people. When you can realize that and when you accept that, that's a huge aha for any area of your life, because you're
It
no
is.
longer trying to force things into place. It's an easy way for you to kind of go into the flow.
Yeah.
We have a couple of comments here I didn't want to miss over. Yep, I love that. Do my own research. That's Camilla. She's getting a lot of this. We're going to make sure we send you over the information as well, Camilla. I'm attracted to people who has similar visions and goals. Absolutely. So that's a great thing. Being at the fact that you're attracted to people who have similar visions and goals, that means that you also have an opportunity to collaborate, right?
Exactly. You do.
So
Collaboration is so important. So vitally important. I want to
Mhm.
pull up one of the questions that we had gotten
Okay.
earlier. Someone had said something about they were struggling with a few things. Let's see here real quick. All right. So struggling with the business plan. Someone made a comment earlier about, let's see. I should have asked specifically what they were struggling with. Um, so if we go off of, I remember what it was. Okay. So they're struggling with the plan itself. Oftentimes, the part that they're struggling with, they're afraid to even say, I don't know this. I don't know that, to even go find a mentor. So it's oftentimes, this is when I don't know how to get over it, because everybody's personality is so different. How do you go from I'm too scared to ask to, if you don't ask, you can spend too much money in the wrong direction. You can waste a lot of time, and you already have emotions at a certain height. You could demoralize yourself and not even know it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things to where I don't know what personality type whomever would be in that case. The biggest thing I would say is try to find whatever avenue you can. If it's church, if it's whomever, if it's a neighbor that you know, the CEO or manager somewhere, whatever, just, well, I'll say this, and this might be the easiest. Go to a university and look who runs the business department, business professor, something of that nature, and just go in and ask them a question. That would be the easiest, because I'm getting that kind of a fear. It's starting to pop up now. I guess like the more you dive into the business plan, go to even a community college. If you're too afraid of the 4-year school, if it looks too big or whatever, no issue. Okay, because the goal of these calls is to get to the answer and go spearhead, get the fear out of the way. Go to a community college even and see who runs whatever business class, business program, whatever, and just go in, knock on the door. Hey, I got a question. About to start a business. I don't know who to go to. I have this question. Can you help me? And if they have an attitude or whatever, okay, I'm sorry, fine. Go talk to the secretary of the business department. Ask her. I guarantee you, the little lady up there is not going to be like, I don't want to talk to you. Get out of here. No, she's going to say, honey, come see what's going on. How do I help you? That would be the best resource out of anything else I can think of, to where you don't feel intimidated to go talk to, because the intimidation is real.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm walked in the rooms and you're like, man, I don't know how to talk to these people.
Right.
I've gone to meetings, and this is in Lubbock, Texas, when I spoke at Texas Tech. And it's weird because the whole area is like a flat desert looking area. And you got this beautiful campus in the middle of it. And they have one of the only PhD programs in green alternative energy. So I walk into this Ports to Plains Summit. I'm asked to speak. My time to speak is about noon. So I walk in, my suit, everything's going. I'm walking around, I'm out of place. Everybody's got belt buckles and tassels and cowboy hats. We got to go down the street and change. And I felt out of place. I
Mhm.
really felt bad. So when I walked back in, I'm like, okay, I was okay once I got myself, I guess, under control. But talk
Mhm.
about being intimidated. I'd never been in a setting like that. I
Mhm.
spoke in Canada before, I spoke in Mexico before, but that was a whole nother
Right.
situation. And them big dually trucks coming in, and you don't know who these people are. I come to find out these CEOs of all companies, Lockheed Martin CEO sitting right here. Like, wow, but you get there, they're just people. They're just
Absolutely.
people. They're just people.
Absolutely.
They're just
Absolutely.
people.
And nowadays in the virtual, another option with the virtual world is linking with people virtually as well. So many people have YouTube information, YouTube channels, almost any subject you can think of. One of the easiest things to do for your nonprofit or your business is to really just find a comparable. Find a comparable, like, okay, this is the company or this is the type of coaching that I want to do. This is how their packages are set up. This is how this is kind of exactly what I want to do. Now I'm going to tweak it to fit exactly to add my own thing to it. But
Yeah.
find some type of comparable is going to be beneficial. Linking with someone, whether that be physically or virtually, and getting that information. Don't be scared, like you said, to ask those questions, like Camilla's doing right now. I think she's the one that asked it, was saying about the struggling as well. She said that's true because I looked at my template for a week before I started filling it in. So did you get that template? I guess she got the template that
Yeah. It's good.
that's where the information that we're talking about, that accountability is going to come in, guys. We're going to be
Mhm.
sending all that information out to you all this week. That's where it all comes in, because sometimes it's just even getting the information when you're trying to do it alone, it can be difficult. What is the easiest way to break it up and to really just get started?
This is where the time comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I was on live on Instagram earlier talking about mindset. And it's funny she brought up that it took her a week to even get into it. That's normal, and that should be the norm. You
Hmm.
don't have to open it up and jump right into it.
Hmm.
When I do business plan / life planning for someone, I'll tell you to get your calendar. Everybody take notes on this part because this is how you can mentally walk yourself into successfully filling it out. So we're looking at Wednesday this week. So let's just imagine you just opened it today. Look at it. Just look it over, maybe one section at a time, one per night. You got 7 days in a week. So break it up into 7 parts. This time next week, you want to just have looked it over. Don't stress about trying to fill it out. Don't do any research. Just look it over. Take a whole week, but break the whole thing down. So when you go back at it again, now you're familiar with it. It's not as intimidating. Okay, cool. And then you take those same sections and cut those in half,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you've got almost 2 weeks of work. You can cut it into fours and have 30 days of work. I would rather you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Break it down into a section per week. Google research, this research, that research, and try to answer as much of it as you can on your own, just to deplete your brain of everything that you know or have been, I guess, been familiar with or just have taken in over time. Okay. Once you filled out your portion, then go back full tilt and go into the YouTubes and the Googles of the world, things of that nature, and see as much as you can on your own. Now you can really ask yourself at that point, you might be 4 months into it, do I really want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
I've exhausted myself. Now, who can I talk to? Because I've got to go talk to somebody. I've got to get this out of here. Do I really want to do it? And if the answer is yes, then okay, go back to what we said earlier as far as who you need to network with, but you at least got to start. And I guarantee you, you'll feel more comfortable going to somebody with something in writing, with a start. Like, look, I put some work into this thing. I need some help.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, I don't really have anything to go off of. And you don't want your elevator pitch to be, I'm not sure. Well, no, 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 no.
Mm-mm.
So start looking at your elevator pitches on YouTube. That's another thing you want to add. Point number two. Look at how people are. Shucks, forget all that. Go to Shark Tank. Go
Oh,
to Shark Tank on
I
YouTube
love
and
Shark Tank.
listen to how they're giving it because they're asking the right questions
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking what you may want to call bank ready questions. So everything that they're asking them, pause, take note, and simulate that into what you're doing. It's okay. Well, how can I, if they ask me that question, if that was me, how would I answer that question?
Mm-hmm.
And say they're the banker or the board of directors member or the CEO of whatever vendor you could be working with.
That's
If
it.
they ask me that question, how can I answer it? How would I answer it? And put the mirror on, put your phone on in front of you, and answer that question as if you're talking to them. It may sound kind of weird, y'all, and I don't know if you get taught this every day. I don't hear that people are, but this is how you prepare yourself
That's
to
it.
ultimately have a finished bank ready business plan and to be able to present it to someone and say, hey, this is my business, this is what I need. Or we just finished with those SBA loans. If a lot of us had grant writers who you got to talk to, CPAs you got to talk to, they don't know what your business is. So you've got
Mhm.
to tell them too. If you're building a team, now we're getting into the meat of it. If you're building a team and you've gone through the entire business plan, you've gone to a mentor, you've gotten everything filled out, you've done and touched everything in your business. Now you know who to hire. Okay, I
Yeah,
can't do this. Let me call the CPA. I need to call Tracy. I need this. I need that. I need a board of directors that'll do this, that'll do that, and slowly start to unpeel yourself and delegate.
that's
But
it.
you can't do none of that until you touched it yourself. So that would be
Absolutely.
my advice, honestly. That would
Absolutely.
be my advice.
I absolutely love that. And what I hear is like a pace. And I know I've heard you say this before, like for people who are starting something and they have a full-time job or a full-time something that they're doing and they're starting on the side, you talk about keep it while you do your planning and while you do your one of the big mistakes I see is a lot of times people their pace is this they want to move faster than they really are prepared to receive or then they're really prepared to and then they get a little frustrated because they've set these unrealistic goals and they're trying to move at a pace that is not a natural pace, you know? And so to put yourself in a position financially, whatever that looks like, I am a firm believer in minimizing if you have to minimize in order to build something for your family, build something for the future, because sometimes it's not even necessarily about making more. It's about looking at where you're bleeding and what's going out. You know what I mean? And so minimizing things so that you can really work on this at a pace that Coach Austin is talking about and connect it to your why. Because if your why is connected to, oh, I got to make something right now because I'm in this situation and I want to hurry up and get, and I'm going to hurry up and move over here, hurry up and get rid of this, then the energy is never going to be flowing right. And it's never going to be authentic because
Mhm.
you're doing it kind of for the wrong reasons. You know,
True.
those financial pressures will completely almost toxify the mission and the purpose and the steps if you're feeling that pressure financially. So being in a position where you can do this at that proper pace, not too slow.
Exactly. Oh no, no, no. You want to have a proper pace, but if you got a yeah, if you got a 9 to 5, keep it.
Mhm.
There's no need to rush. I mean, be careful. Be careful looking at Instagram. And I think someone made a comment earlier about the Instagram groups and the Facebook groups are really good groups to network in. And they are. They're fantastic groups. So I use them. Um, but be careful trying to emulate people that are on Instagram saying that I made $30,000 in 30 days.
Mhm.
I did this and I did that. Some people can, some people have. I've seen it. You know, they'll show you their PayPal receipts and I made this, I made this, I made that. Okay, that's great. But does what that person's doing match where you are and what you're trying to do?
Mhm.
And if it's not the same thing, then don't go that route. There's some people that have been selling their services and they do get receipts and they get testimonials of people that they've helped. Okay, if you see that much of a growth with that person, then you need to follow them, pay their service, and make sure you're part of that testimonial group. I would say get a reference list of people that they've helped in the past 30 days, and then go back a year and a half or a year. Who have you worked with over the last 12 months? Who's
Mhm.
still with you and is still successful as these most recent receipts? Do what any other company would do. Do your due diligence with that person to see if things really are what they are. And if they are, okay, follow it. But again, is that person's business the same as yours? If it's not, be careful because now you're setting yourself up for a total failure. Or why can't I make that kind of money? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Don't do that. Don't do that. You're unraveling everything that we just trying to teach you for the last couple of months.
Mhm.
Take your time and do what you do. Follow someone that's in your business and emulate them. So if I'm telling t-shirts, I want to find the guy whose shirt I'm wearing now. How many shirts are you selling? How are you selling it? How are you branding? How are you marketing? How's this? How's that? Peel that person's mind totally open and see, okay, if he's doing it or she's doing it, and this is what I'm into right now. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Great. Just like if I'm gonna be a school for a nurse, they let the new nurses sit with the more seasoned nurses and they run them through a probationary period. They introduce them to the floor and how to administer meds and this, that, and the other. It's nothing any different than any other place of business, y'all. Don't make this any more difficult or more unicorn-like than it has to be.
Trust
It
the
is
process.
what it is.
That's what I'm hearing. You have to trust the process in life. You have to trust that flow and trust with the knowledge that you have, as opposed to focusing on how can you build income faster. If you focus on how can I increase my knowledge bank, what are some things that I need to learn? How can I focus on development so that as these things gather and as I learn this and learn that, you're naturally going to increase what you can bring in and what your value is and what your worth is, because you're getting all of that information. So when you focus in that area, it makes the process a lot easier. I think about sometimes, of course, in this whole household, a lot of times we're all trying to find a way to maybe drop a couple of pounds or tighten up and, really just get our shape together and everything. Growing up with all sisters, that's always been just a part of life. And so one thing I've always found was interesting is a lot of times I will watch different people around me and they would jump on the scale. And like so many times, I'm like, just really, as soon as you start, you went to the gym first time, you jump on the scale, this is your first day, or you did a little bit over here, or maybe even you didn't do nothing, but you're jumping on the scale. You know what I mean? I see a lot of people that do that often. And it's like, that's a prime example. You're more focused on the actual results of something than the something that's going to give the results. You have to focus on that process and those daily actions. What are you doing every day? What are you putting in your body? What are you putting in your mind and your spirit with the people that you're connected to on social media, the YouTube videos you're watching, the Netflix stuff you're binging? All of that stuff can be tied in some type of way to your passion and your mission. And you can always be increasing that knowledge bank. But now that's the hard work. No, we want to just do 30K in 20 days or something like that.
Of course. You have to look at it to where, again, it's putting the business hat on. Do you want to have a sustainable business that lasts 10, 15 years like ours, right? We can say that. And there's a certain glory and just a joy to say I've been around that long. But there is a certain amount of work that goes into it. There's a different mindset of diligence and work that goes on with that. I'm okay with the way my life works. I can turn on and turn it off. And right now, scaling and pivoting into a certain arena, I'm fine with that. I really am. If you want to have a business that's $100,000 a year business or a $500,000 a year business, you need to have enough knowledge for a $500,000 a year business.
That's it.
So you can't have 30 days of knowledge and just all of a sudden, I really don't know how they're making that kind of money outside of just selling a bunch of courses to people that need them. And they sound really needy right now, because I've noticed some of them, they've exhausted the sales and now they're pivoting into, we need to take our time and really teach you how this works. Okay, gotcha. Whatever. So again, it's fancy now. It's cute now. It may get you a lot of likes and a lot of this and a lot of that. You can pull up in the fancy car, whatever. Does it make you sustainable, cyclical year after year after year? Can you file taxes and show that I'm at year 1, year 3, and year 5? Does your business plan show the growth? And if you implement the plan and you can show the growth, there's no reason why you can't grow. There's no reason why nobody can't grow their business if you set the foundation properly and just let it take its course. You really can. You'll be so good to go.
Especially with the people that you have in your corner now, especially with online, especially with all the opportunities. One of my big life mantras that I go by is always looking at the silver lining, looking at the opportunities, because there's opportunities all around you, just like there's negativity and things you can't control. And oh my goodness, I don't know what's going to happen next month. And nobody does. Okay. Focus on the opportunities that you have right now, where you can be a part of the solution and how you can create transformation. Because if you figure out a way to first transform you, find ways to, okay, I can transform that. I was able to do that health-wise really easy. Okay, I can almost teach that. Or I was able to transform this spiritual thought that really took me to another level. Or I was able to transform finances. And I remember growing up in the hood and, growing up on food stamps and things like that. And now I see clearly how I was in that position and how the things that were going on spiritually and how just some small adjustments can be made to where you're no longer in that position no more. That's valuable. That's transformation. So when you transform you, you can then transform other people. When you get to the point where you can produce transformation in somebody, the finances, all of that stuff, that just melts away because you've gotten to the goal right there. And then now you have that value where it's up to you how much you want to make and how you want to structure it and how you want to scale it. So
Of course.
me and Coach Austin have been on here almost 50 minutes, guys. So
Oh,
we are
wow.
going to wrap
You're
up
always doing
here.
that.
But obviously, we have a lot to talk about. We are actually launching a new little mini pop-up course next week. We're getting all the details together. We're going to be sending that out. If you are watching this via recording later on, or if you're watching it right now, make sure you comment below, send me the info, or I'm in, and we'll make sure that we DM you those links so that we can get you all of that information. We're going to be starting this together next week, launching Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I do believe.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
3
We're
days.
taking
3
a
days.
small group of people, and then we're probably not going to be opening back up for another 60 days or so because this is going to be our little trial portion here. But one of the things that I found with all of my coaching is I can really, really inspire you and make you feel really, really good about getting something done today. But if that inspiration doesn't stick and you wake up tomorrow without that, then a lot of times some people freeze. They're like, okay, now I don't have that. Now, now what? But when you create an accountability plan and you say, we're all going to turn this in at this time, and you say, hey, you know what? We're in the hot seat. We're going to review your plan and we're going to all do this together. Now it's like, okay, I don't have any choice. Let me get this done, And so that's what we're building for you. We're trying to create a solution to some of the problems that we've seen, and we really want to help you to be able to create your plans, because from these plans, remember, anything around you that you're looking at right now, these seats, these computers, these cams that we're using and things like that, they all started with some type of plan, with some type of draft, with some type of thought. Oh man, that would be easy. Let me jot that down. Feel that, because that's so powerful. That tells you how powerful your ideas are. They're not just something that, can't happen one day, or because I don't know anybody else that's doing it, or because I don't have this information or that information. Everything started at the idea, inspiration, getting a plan together phase, and people have executed plans from all walks of life. From walks of life of fully educated, from walks of life of high school educated, from walks of life of over 60 and 70 and just starting off. So there is a model out here for you somewhere. And we're going to hopefully partner with you guys to be able to really take this from that beginning phase to the foundation needed to create that scalable, solid business that we talk about.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Lean on the information that we have. And this information and wisdom comes from years of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done it. I know what a business plan, an executable plan looks like. And what I really want people to start to feel is not just starting the business. Let's look at you being in it year 3, year 5, and what that looks like physically. What that looks like. That's where I want. That needs to be the conversations. Let's not think about it as being freshmen and sophomores in college anymore. We're actually in the work field. We're doing the work. I can put my mind on you and say, here, this is what it looks like. Oh, that's pretty cool. Got it. And I'll peel you back. Okay, this is how we get there. It's a phenomenal thing. Trust me, to be able to be in your own work schedule and know what a cyclical year looks like. Know when I'm going to take vacation, when I'm going to take breaks. I'm planning right now, and we can probably, I don't know if you want to end with this or whatever. I know what my year is going to be like already. Even in COVID, even pre, I know how, and I'm planning when I'm going to take off for Thanksgiving, what I'm going to do for Christmas, and I'm shutting it down from right around Christmas time till a certain part of next year. And I'm not going to do any work. I'm going to have enough that'll be in. Now, if I want to do this or I want to do that, that's fine. That's up to me.
That's up to you.
You can get your business to that point. Now, you've got to ramp up. You're going to have, I've had days where I spent a whole month, didn't leave the house, just stayed in. I've had a whole weekend where I didn't sleep. But that's what it takes. But I love that. I'd rather put those hours in and then do it for someone else. And the minute you go from your 9 to 5 mentality to I'm actually structuring something for the rest of my life, even though you're still working a 9 to 5, your mind's free now. Your body, you're free. So I can go to work. I can be employee of the month. I can get whatever certificate you want. That's fine. Cool. But I'm going to go talk to HR. I'm going to talk to benefits. I'm going to talk to so-and-so to really figure out what that system looks like. So let me pull as much as I can out of y'all to help me over here. And then they'll get this in the class.
That's a nugget in itself. That is a nugget in itself. Not looking at your job, any type of job that you have, not looking at it as just what I'm getting in. It's kind of an annoying thing with me when I'm going to hire and things like that. Because my whole goal, our goal is Google as employees and as contractors and things like that. We want to create win-wins for the people connected to us as well. And so it's kind of like when someone comes in and they're looking at it as a job I'm always trying to link people who can get this information and can use it for their own entrepreneurial journeys, for whatever they're trying to create in life. So looking at wherever you are as a learning opportunity, squeezing everything out of that. How are they managing this? That's how I started my first, I would say, my first real business or adult business. I started my first business when I was 10 in my hair, but my first adult business was daycare. And I started it working at a daycare and just looking around like, wait a minute, I'm getting paid. What an hour? How many kids? What's your bill? Okay. Just processing that information and deciding it don't make sense. You know what I mean? Exactly. And then that's how if you start to just observe, guys, that's a feat in itself. We're going to let you go. We know we've been on for some time. She said, facts. You did it, Queen. You just did, Queen. That's awesome. Let's see. I did that before last job and they supported my nonprofit. That's awesome. Went on her last job and really just took in everything. So guys, make sure if you're watching this later, like I said, say I'm in and we will send you those details if you want help with your business plan. Okay, just shoot us a message, we'll send you those, and that'll be coming out next week, guys. And until then, we will see you in the next video. We really appreciate this time. Thank you so much, Coach Austin. We always get tons of nuggets through these times, and we will see you guys in the next video. Remember, from then until now, make sure you're creating win-wins and you're finding ways to be a part of the solution, finding ways to be a part of the transformation, transforming you, then transforming those around you, guys. And if you start with that foundation, everything else will fall into place. All right, I'll see you in the next video. And we are off, I do believe. Let me just double check. Without my team in this squeaky chair.
I know, right? It says it's still live. We might be doing an impromptu.
It still says live. It still says it here too. It must be taking a moment.
We're giving the folks a little extra.
Guys, my team isn't here, so I'm so sorry. Hold on just a second. Let's see if I can figure it out. Let's end it twice and see if that